This is another edition of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. My name is Tim Howe. I'm your studio host, also president of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars. I can't believe it's already been a month since we played the third annual Shield Softball All-Star Series, but my goodness, time flies when you're having fun and you have some decent weather. AC is blasting tonight in the studio, enjoying some of that good old-fashioned summer here as we head towards Independence Day. But we need to look back on that 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series coming up a little bit later in the program. All sorts of fantastic audio from Mike Mason of the ND Sports Channel and the Magnitude Sports Network. Really good stuff as we will recap the three games. But I want to take you through this whole experience a little bit. Here in year three, we kind of have it down to a pretty good science, but it starts on the Monday after the state tournament, right around noon. A lunch hour over at the Element Hotel in West Fargo. The girls get to know each other. But even before we dive into that, we've kind of made it a tradition here now the last couple of years. The players of the year, the senior athletes of the year in Class A and B, head over to 740 The Fan. We get a nice little segment on the Jack Michaels Show. The background guy, the program director over there, Chase Miller, has done a great job, including our group. And so it was fun to have Gabby Nelson of Shanley and Lexi Boer of Central Cass over there to chat with 740 The Fan. And, of course, they podcast that up, put it on their website. That is just fantastic. We love doing that. We're so grateful that 740 The Fan is willing to do that with us. And then we all convene over at Element Hotel. Was really excited this year to bring in Valley News Live sports director Beth Houle. Beth is someone that I've come to know over the years. She is a wonderful person, but more importantly, she's a lady boss. And her presentation was just fantastic. I thought she spoke to the girls really well, very down to earth. It was just fun to have her as sort of the keynote speaker of what is really a lengthy day one. But again, thank you to Beth. That went fantastic. And then we do a little mixing, a little mingling, a little icebreaker, a little get to know each other with our, it was second annual cornhole tournament. And this was a fun one because we paired the teams, one player from the East, one player from the West, and built out a bracket all drawn out of a cup at my house. And it was really fantastic. We learned something, though. Don't put pitchers together because pitchers did some damage. The winners, Kylie Washneski of Cheyenne and Sydney Lovelace of Minot Bishop Ryan, both with extensive pitching backgrounds during their high school careers. It was close at times, but Washneski and Lovelace took home the Cornhole Championship. And then shortly after that, it was off to Mickelson Park, and boy, did we have some fantastic weather. But started with photos, tons of photos from Tanya K Photography. There's a link up at ndsballstars.com. You want to check those out. You want to purchase some photos from the event. Also, Purple Bison Sports was there on night number one at Mickelson Park in Fargo. And night number two, we had John Jablonski from Life's Images. Photo links to all three of those categorical libraries are right there for you at ndsballstars.com. Well, then it's time to warm up and get ready for the games. And as we set the stage for game number one, before we bring in the Mike Mason highlight package from the ND Sports Channel and the Magnitude Sports Network, setting the stage 4-0 all-time for the East. And we'd had scenarios in the past where the West had jumped out to early leads, and sometimes big leads. But the East had always come from behind. So we had an interesting setup here. Game one pitching matchup, Lexi Boer from Central Cass, who came in something like 37-1 in her high school career pitching. Crazy. One loss was to Hankinson earlier in the 2019 season for the East. And then for the West, Cassidy Dudenhefner. And Cassidy was literally added to the team. The West needed another healthy pitching arm. She was added to the roster on Saturday. And 3 days later, she's in the circle starting for the West in the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series. And now let's just turn it over to Mike Mason, and he will run us through a fantastic highlights package from game number one.
Kennedy Kuntz will pop that one up left center field. It's going back, and we have our first grand slam of the All-Star Series in 3 years. Two runners on, second and third, and here's the hit. And now go right into the glove of Lakin Stork at shortstop. Fires it over to Lovelace at first for the out. 1-1 will score, and the East All-Stars are on the board here with a ground-out RBI single, or a ground-out RBI, I should say, by Lauren Deemer. Grace Shear from the Valley City Highliners is the batter. 5 of 10 on her plate appearances here on the ND Sports Channel. I should say 5 of 10 on her at-bats is what I should say. And that one could possibly be 6 of 11. It's an RBI single there. Ricocheted off the glove of Cameron Kuntz at third like it was a pinball game. Now going to the books as a hit. An infield RBI single.
Number 14, Lana Linster.
And the 1-1 will be grounded out into left field. That will be another single. And rounding third is Peyton Richter. And the Central Cass Squirrel bats in her teammate from second with an RBI single for Lexi Boer. And it's 4-3, and the East All-Stars are within one. That one's hit up high, right field, and that could maybe have the distance. It does! It's a solo shot for the Oak Grove graduate and the Fargo Shanley Deacon, Gabby Nelson. Here's the 1-0. Now be grounded out, and a hop in between the third baseman and shortstop to left field. Rounding third is Phoebe Garman, and the West have increased their lead and broken the tie. It's 5-4. Now on be popped up right field. Running for it is Becca Thompson. She makes the grab. Tagging from third is Maddie Steckler on the sac fly by Kennedy Kuntz. Sydney Lovelace will stay at second, and it's 6-4 now in favor of the West. Put the pressure on the East in the bottom of the seventh. That'll be a grounder into center field. That will easily score Rosted from third, and that makes it 7-4 in favor of the West All-Stars. And that one's going into the gap in right center. That could score at least one. Rounding third is Peyton Richter. Here comes Lexi Boer, and they will hold her at third. And now the tying run is on second on a RBI double for Courtney Bowl into the gap in right center. And the 3-1. Swung on, and a line drive into the glove of Celie Rovig. And the West All-Stars have won their first ever game in the ND Softball All-Star Series since it kicked off in 2017 by the final score of 7-5.
There's your ball game, folks.
That highlights package there from Mike Mason, the ND Sports Channel and the Magnitude Sports Network. Big thanks to Mike. Before we continue on with the program here, he has done play-by-play in some variety now for all three of the Shield Softball All-Star Series. So dating back to 2017 when we started out in Mandan and Fargo, and then Fargo and Mandan in 2018, and then Fargo and Bismarck here in 2019. But a really good quality, quickly and cleanly played first game there. The West picking up their first ever win, and I think the two storylines of that first game were the Kuntz Grand Slam, which you heard in the very first cut, and then really just the performance of Cassidy Dutenhefner, who again was added to the roster for the West just a couple days before the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series. In fact, she was added on Saturday morning, then her team played in a state championship game, and then a couple days later, she's pitching in a senior All-Star game. So really good stuff there from Cassidy. But for the first time ever, we didn't just play one game in Fargo. This night, or these games went deep into the night. They went until the sun went down and the lights came on, and we were blessed to get a really high-quality game number 2 as well.
First pitch of the first game came at 5:43, and the first pitch of this game gets hit out in the left center field, and the first hit of the game is a solo shot over the left center field fence. And the West All-Stars lead 1-0. That was Kennedy Kuntz. Payoff pitch number 2. Outside, ball 4. It's a bases-loaded walk that scores Rachel Mischel from third to make it 2-0 in favor of the West in the regular season. So that one's going out into left field, and that will drop for at least a single. That will score Kaylee Weigel from third. The throw from it to home is not in time, and it's 3-0 West on an RBI single by Lauren Gango out into left field. Bowl has thrown 30 pitches, 16 strikes, and 14 balls. Sunny and 87 here in North Fargo. That one's going into left center field, and all the way back to the fence it'll drop. Scoring Colzer from third, rounding third from second is Aaron Thompson, and that's 2 more And it's a 5-0 lead now for the West All-Stars. She had a grand slam in the first game, and now a solo shot in this game. If she can get one more home run, she will hold the record all by herself for the most home runs in an All-Star series. It won't come on this at-bat, but she will get an RBI single. That's scoring from second is Phoebe Garman, and that makes it 6-0 in favor of the West All-Stars. Balls and 1 strike. Once again, Lauren Deemer at the West Fargo Packers, the batter, and she'll hit that one out into the gap in left center. That is going to score Peyton Richter from second. Here comes Courtney Bowl, and they'll send her around third as well, and that's 2. 0 for 1 with a fly out, and that one's going to be hit to deep right field, and that is now 3 players who have 2 home runs in an All-Star series. A 2-run shot with Becca Thompson on second over the right field fence, and this game is knotted up at 6 apiece. And Becca Thompson is the batter now. 1 ball, no strikes. And Becca Thompson, that one could be, no, that doesn't quite have the distance that I thought it did. Tagging on third, though, is Elena Linster, and that ties the game up once again on a sac fly by Becca Thompson. That one goes into left field, and it drops. Coming in from third is Gabby Nelson to score, and the East All-Stars retake the lead at 8-7 on an RBI single by Emma Johnson. Now we'll see Kaylee Weigel, the Legacy Sabre.
Kaylee Weigel.
And we'll see if the Sabre can knock in the Patriot. And that'll be a grounder, and it'll find its way, and that will bring the Patriot / Skyhawk around to tie the game, and Rachel Mischel will step on the plate to make it 8-8. And that will be an RBI double for Kaylee Weigel. It's 120. That'll be a strike, and that'll go into right field. That will score Lauren Gangle from third, and the West will take the lead on an RBI double by Lakin Stork out in the right center field. And the 1-1. Swung on left center field into the gap. It'll drop. Rounding second is Lakin Stork, and she'll come across and score. And it is 10-8 in favor of the West on another RBI double by J.C. Rostad.
Again, Mike Mason there on the ND Sports Channel, Magnitude Sports Network with the call. Another win for the West as they built a lead, came back, the East came back, then the West chipped away. Just a whole back and forth game, much different complexion than the first. But again, the West winning by a pair of runs, giving them their first 2 wins ever in the Shields Softball All-Star Series. So that's the way that we left things on day number 1 from Mickelson Park in Fargo. And then everybody reconvened the following afternoon at a fantastic Sanford Sports Complex in the great city of Bismarck, the capital city in North Dakota, playing on Starion Bank Turf Field. What a fun place to be. And it actually didn't start with a game. Instead, it started with our second annual skills competition, and this was really fun. We had a great group of kids. Let's just look over the events and how everybody did, and the winners from the respective events, and then, of course, the overall winners as well. So our first event of the afternoon or evening was the fastest runner competition, and the champion came from Dickinson, Cameron Kuntz, with a top time of 11.39, finishing second, Grace Shear of Valley City with a top time of 11.60, and Kaylee Weigel of Legacy from right there. I mean, her high school's right there. 11.76, her fastest time to finish third. Now, this was home to home. Really good times there. Our other competitors were Peyton Richter with a 12.19 as her best time, Lauren Deemer at 11.98, J.C. Rostad of Minot right at 12 flat, and Phoebe Garman of Beulah came in at 12.16. Infield throwing accuracy, so they scored points based on how good their throw was from the shortstop area. Our winner, math is hard here. I'm doing math on the fly. Our winner was Kylie Washneski of Cheyenne with 13 points. So she both won the Cornhole Championship with Sydney Lovelace on opening day and then won the infield throwing accuracy with 13 points. Rachel Mischel of Century had 11 points. Erin Thompson of Wilton Wing and Amanda Raisler of Kindred Richland both had 8, and they tied for third. The other competitors in the throwing accuracy competition were Nicole Hurt, Hillsborough Central Valley. She had 7. Lexi Boer with 7 as well. From the West, the aforementioned Sydney Lovelace with 6, and Lexi Kulzer of Washburn with 6. And then the outfield throwing accuracy. This one's a fun one, especially when it's windier than heck in Bismarck. But it went really well. A lot of good performances. But Carrie Nisler from Thompson, she came out on top with 11 points. She was our outfield throwing accuracy champion. Courtney Bowl from West Fargo and Cassidy Dutenhefner from Bismarck, they tied for second with 10 each. Elena Linster of Cheyenne finished third with 9 points. And the other competitors in the outfield throwing accuracy were Kennedy Kuntz, who finished with 5, and Maddie Steckler finished with 4. And then the modified home run derby, the big bats came alive, and it was all East as they ran their way to a 27-12 overall victory. Basically, thanks to the points here in the home run derby, modified home run derby. Basically, the way it worked is there's a couple markers out there. You get it past here, it's X amount of points. You get it past there, it's Y amount of points. You hit it over the fence, it would be Z amount of points, if you will. And the home run derby, again, dominated by the East. So Emma Johnson of Cheyenne, 31 total points. Gabby Nelson of Shanley with 29 total points. And Becca Thompson of Valley City with 20 total points. That was 1 through 3. Interesting there, 2 of them left-handed hitters, and the wind was blowing out pretty good during the home run derby to left center. So pretty well done there from the lefties. Lagan Stork of Bismarck, also a competitor. She had 18. Celie Rovig from Bishop Ryan, 16. And Lauren Gangle from Mandan had 1. So that was the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Series Skills Competition results. Again, the East won by an overall score of 27-13. I think I said 27-12 a minute ago, but it was 27-13. So the East got in the win column in event number 1 out in the West. But how would they do in the game? The West, of course, swept the doubleheader in day number 1. Let's get Mike Mason back. A highlights package here from the ND Sports Channel and the Magnitude Sports Network of game number 3 of the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Series.
2 groundouts to short, 2 groundouts to the pitcher, and a pop out to the second baseman. Now pitch comes up high and over, and coming home is Weigel, and it's 1-0 West. Phoebe Garman on third. On second is Sydney Lovelace. On first is Lauren Gangle. And the batter once again is J.C. Rostad. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. Here's the windup and the delivery of the 1-1. Popped up. Center field, and making the grab is Linster. And now tagging from third in the throw home, and the head first slide, and she's safe. And it's 3-0 on the sac fly by Rostad out into center field. So remain 1-2 on the fouled away pitch, and we'll pretend that none of that ever happened. And this time Mitchell will get the step on third and fire it over for the double play. Nice job there by the Skyhawk/Patriot to get the double play, as Deemer would ground it to third. It would stay fair this time, and she would pick it up and make it count. Take a step to her right, step on the third base bag, and fire it over to first for the ground out, or for the double play. Gabby Nelson, the batter. Gabby Nelson hit 3 home runs in the skills competition, right behind Emma Johnson, who hit 4. So the East winning that one easily. That one will be bounced off the glove of Weigel out into right field, and that will score the first run of the game here for the East. That will score Grace Shear from second. And the windup in the 2-2 with 2 away. Swung on, hit left field, and that one will drop. Kuntz will not get to it this time, and that will be good for a single for Emma Johnson. That will score Gabby Nelson. So it's an RBI single to make the lead 4-2, and now Lexi Boer will step up to the plate. So you got a Mustang on second, a Squirrel on first, and a Squirrel up to bat. And then you got another Mustang on deck. And that one's going to center field. That is gone. That is a 3-run homer off the bat of Peyton Richter. And all of a sudden, the East All-Stars have a 5-4 lead. That was one person who was not in the home run contest. And now I'm kind of curious to see what she would have done if she was. It's got a 5-4 lead for the East now, thanks to a 3-run homer by the Central Cass Squirrel, Peyton Richter. Straightaway center field. That one's pretty much gone. By the time it reached the pitcher's plate, you pretty much knew where that one was going. 1-2, and that one might be gone as well. Deep left center, and that one is out of here. It's a 2-run homer for Courtney Bull, and the West Fargo Packer extends the East lead to 7-4. So Grace Shear would get on base, and then a 5-3 ground out for out number 1, and then just Gabby Nelson, Emma Johnson, Lexi Brewer got on base. Peyton Richter hit the 3-run homer. Kylie Washniewski got on base. Courtney Bull hit the 2-run homer. And now we're still sitting at 2 outs here in the top half of the third. It'll be grounded into right field, right past the left foot of Lauren Gangle. And that will score from first, Elena Linster, to make it 8-4.
Highlights package there again from Mike Mason, the ND Sports Channel, and the Magnitude Sports Network, as the East comes from behind, gets a win, so they're not swept in the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series. Earlier I mentioned the skills competition. I think it would be fair to mention we've had 2 years of this now, so we can look at the very best times of all time. So Cameron Kuntz was our fastest runner at 11.39, but still the fastest of all time would be Riley Owen of Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis, and Clark. She ran an 11.16 in 2018. Kylie Washniewski, infield throwing accuracy, had 13, topped Amber Sickler from the year before. She had 12. Looking at the outfield throwing accuracy, it was Carrie Nitzler of Thompson with 11, but the all-time leader will still be Marissa Andresiak of Minot. She had 17 last year. And then the modified home run derby, well, it went a lot different this year. The winner last year was Whitney Thomas of Legacy, and she had 17. This year, Emma Johnson of Cheyenne had 31. Now let's talk about some other records. And first, let's talk a little bit just about Class B. The hesitation here when we first started kicking around this idea of an all-star game or an all-star series was, how do the Class B kids fit in? Well, they fit at least one of the pitchers, one of the starting pitchers, in 5 of the 7 games has been a Class B pitcher. How impressive is that? In the last highlights package, you heard Peyton Richter from Central Cass hit a 3-run bomb, the first Class B player to hit a home run in the game, in one of the games in the Shield Softball All-Star Series. So the B kids are hanging right in there. And now we're going to mention some B kids because there were a few records set here in 2019. I want to go through them. These are all individual based on the entire series. So Gabby Nelson hit 2 triples this year. Nobody hit any in a game, and she hit 2, or in a series, and she hit 2 this year. She also leads the way now with the most hits ever. She had 7 in the 3 games here in 2019, 7 hits for Gabby Nelson. Most home runs, both Kennedy Kuntz and Gabby Nelson tied Felicity Blair from 2018. They've each hit 2, or all 3 of them have hit 2 to tie for first there. Emma Johnson defensively, she had 18 putouts playing catcher. That is the most putouts of all time. Most RBIs goes to Kennedy Kuntz. Grand Slam helps there. She has 8 RBI in the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series. Most runs scored, another Class B player. Here's Phoebe Garman. She had 5 runs scored in this year's series. Most stolen bases, Elena Linster of Cheyenne ties Mariah Wick's mark from 2017. They each have 3. Another tie is in the most walks category, and they're both Cheyenne Mustangs. Morgan Geisler walked 4 times back in 2017. Emma Johnson did it this year. And highest batting average now goes to Sydney Lovelace, another Class B player. She hit .714 over the 3 games from Minot Bishop Ryan. Then one other record set here on the team side, most hits in an all-star series. The East put up 39 hits, and they also tied their own record of 24 runs scored. They did that back in 2017. So a quick look at the all-time series results. Very first game ever, the East won 9-6, and then they won 15-9. So 9-6 and 15-9, the 2 scores in 2017. In 2018, they won 2-1 in 11 innings. The East did, and then they won the second game 10-6. Again, this year, the West All-Stars took Game 1 by a score of 7-5, took Game 2 by a score of 10-8, and the East All-Stars salvaged a game, coming from behind down 6-0, coming all the way back to win 11-6 in Game number 3. So that's a wrap on the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Series, even though it happened, I know, about a month ago here, or exactly a month ago from when I recorded this podcast, but glad that we could recap it today. So that is officially a wrap on the 2019 high school softball season. I know the summer state tournament's coming up in about 10 days here. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their summer. This has been another edition of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. My name is Tim Howe. Take care.